I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm all for free speech. You can have whatever opinion you want, no matter how stupid, bass-ackward it is. I don't care. But there are certain times and places to not voice your opinion. And if you're a teacher, school's generally one of them. That's where you go, you do your job, you teach, and that's it. You teach the students the subject matter. That's it. It's not that hard. But apparently for one middle school teacher in Florida, it was a little more difficult. A teacher used the N-word and told students dating black people was, quote, not worth it. Like I said, you can have whatever opinion you want, no matter how stupid and idiotic it is. But there's a time and place to disseminate that opinion. And if you're a teacher, school's not one of them. A middle school teacher in Florida has been suspended for 10 days after being accused of using the N-word, calling students dumb, and making other racist or inflammatory comments in class.
Bite me.
Now, I can attest that a lot of students can be dumb, and I don't mean intellectually dumb. They can be lack of common sense, do dumb things, and, be just generally dumb. Because, well, I've seen that as a student, and I've seen that from a teacher's perspective, because growing up, I was friends with a lot of the teachers in my schools, because having a mother that worked there for so many years, I knew virtually every teacher I had from preschool to 12th grade.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
So, no real surprises. And I got all kinds of stories, not necessarily by name, but just the stories, names are changed to protect parties involved, that sort of thing. And they can be dumb, but it is not a teacher's place to call a student dumb to their face. David Swinyar, a math teacher at Turrn Middle School in Jacksonville, was suspended without pay Tuesday by Duval County Public Schools. The district had been investigating Swinyar since October when a student's mother complained about the teacher's behavior. Parents tend to sometimes overreact about the teacher. Oh, they're being mean to my kid because they're, pushing them to be better in the subject. That sort of thing. Or better students or better people. And they may see that as, oh, they're being mean to my child, my son, my daughter, whatever. And take that to the administration and be like, oh, he's being mean. And complain about that behavior. This guy, on the other hand, I read a bunch of the articles, so I have every confidence that he did at least some of what he's accused of because of the amount of students and parents that complained. Like a lot of people like to say, there's a lot of smoke for there not to be a fire of some sort. That complaint led to interviews with more than 24 students and staff members who alleged, among other things, that Swinyar yelled at and confronted students in a physically aggressive manner, according to a copy of the district's investigation report obtained by the Washington Post. There is no excuse for a teacher to become physically aggressive towards students unless they are actively breaking up a fight, protecting a student from a gunman, or whatever. That is the only time it is remotely acceptable to become physically aggressive towards a student. Swinyar was also accused of making racist remarks, including using the N-word to some of his students last semester. If my daughter was dating someone who used the F-word, I wouldn't have any respect for that N-word, Swinyar said during one of his classes, according to the report. Now, I have a cousin who is black. Oh, I have several, but the oldest one, my cousin, he and I were talking once, and we both agreed about a proper definition for the N-word. Not that, it's not bad, typically in general, when especially white people use it, but its best definition would be that it represents the worst in society. You don't have to be black to be that. You can be white, doesn't matter. The drug dealers, child molesters, rapists, murderers, those individuals are can be classified with that word because that's what they are. He pointed that out to me. I'm like, You know what? Makes sense. And just because someone uses the F word like me, says fuck, that doesn't make me that. Now, this teacher would be classified more as that than myself because, well, let's face it, he's apparently a scumbag. Several students testified that the classroom grew quiet after that, seemingly in shock over Swinyard's use of the slur. When some questioned him about it, Swinyard denied using the word, saying he would never do so, according to the report.
Ooh, if anyone needs me, I'll be in the Angry Dome.
Really? In today's day and age where almost every teenager has a smartphone, which can be used as a video camera and an audio recorder, your best bet's just to cop to it, apologize sincerely, and hope that nobody decides to, pitch a fit. But apparently he's too stupid to realize that, so...
Stupid idiot.
Fuck him, I guess. Shortly after the incident, one male student left the classroom to report Swinyard's aggressive tone and demeanor to his mother, but Swinyard followed the student, began yelling at him, and also snatched the phone out of his hand, the report said. Which, now, following the student into the hallway, now, if the student didn't have permission to leave class, I could understand. But yelling, uncalled for. Snatching the phone, uncalled for. Another student told district investigators that Swinyard had been discussing relationships when he told students, if your boyfriend says bad things to you and or treats you wrong, that means he's acting like a N-word, and you all should not be dating all these African American boys because they are not worth it. Who's he to say they're not worth it? Does he know each and every one of them? Probably not. Jacksonville's a big city, the US is a big country, the planet's kinda large, so I highly doubt he knows all of them. In all, at least 24 students and several staff members gave statements about Swinyard's behavior to investigators and to the Turrn Middle School principal and assistant principal. Allegations of racist comments aside, the interviews also painted a picture of a teacher who was easily angered and who liked to confront students by getting in their face, the report said. Which, let's be honest, that's not a good quality to have in a teacher. When Mr. Swinyard gets mad, he becomes aggressive, one female student testified, according to the district's report. Additionally, Mr. Swinyard belittles students by talking down to them about their low Florida Standards assessment scores. He loves to talk about politics and Donald Trump. He also talked about attending a black church. Mr. Swinyard often mocks black preachers. Okay, you're a math teacher. You don't teach political sciences, so you don't need to be talking politics and Donald Trump with your students. However, despite finding Swinyard's behavior rude, the student said that overall she thought he was a good teacher, according to the report. Don't get me wrong, that may be the case. I've had teachers that were good teachers, but weren't the best people. I've had teachers that were crappy teachers, but were good people. Well, I've also had a teacher that was a shitty teacher and a shitty person, so... I've had the whole spectrum. Swinyard had no past disciplinary actions on his record. Well, he's got a couple now. The district concluded that there is a preponderance of evidence to support that Mr. Swinyard exercised poor judgment when he engaged in inappropriate communication in the presence of and or toward students. Yeah, I'd say he did. About 22% of Kernan Middle School's 1,285 students are African American, according to the district. Now see, I could see something like this happening in a rural school, like near where I live. But really, in a place like that's as diverse as Jacksonville.
Go fuck yourself.
In an email to school board members and district officials, Duval County Superintendent Patricia Willis defended the disciplinary action as consistent with a 4-step process outlined by a collective bargaining agreement. An employee being disciplined typically receives an oral warning, then a written reprimand before progressing to steps 3 and 4, suspension without pay and termination, Willis said. To skip a step, we must demonstrate that the conduct is severe, and in doing so, we consider factors such as the employee's previous disciplinary history, if any, potential harm to the physical or mental well-being of students, and or whether the conduct impairs the employee's effectiveness in performing his or her duties or confidence in the eyes of the students or parents. I'd say his did. In this case, the district decided that Swinyar's conduct was severe enough to merit skipping the first 2 steps despite his lack of previous disciplinary actions. That's a good thing, because that type of behavior, not acceptable. An attorney representing Swinyar through the Duval Teachers Union did not immediately respond to a request for comment Friday. Swinyar is appealing the outcome of the investigation. Well, yeah, of course he is. He's not going to admit that he screwed up this bad. Several students also alleged during their interviews that Swinyar watched porn in the classroom on his laptop and cell phone. Swinyar's district-issued laptop was subsequently turned over to investigators who didn't find any inappropriate sites or materials on the computer. The report deemed those allegations unsubstantiated. They're assuming he didn't take his personal laptop, which, let's face it, if you're going to do something skeezy like that, you're not going to use your work laptop. I mean, let's be honest. After Swinyar returns from his unpaid suspension, he will be reassigned to an appropriate district position with no contact with students for the remainder of the year. Overnight security watch? Swinyar's contract with the district expires June 30th, and it will be reconsidered for renewal in May, along with all other annual employee contracts. I have a feeling it's not going to get renewed. It's just a feeling, but you never know. On Wednesday, Kernan Middle School Principal Julie Hemphill sent a letter home to parents regarding Swinyar's suspension, though it did not name the teacher. Well, apparently the parents know now.